Well, Elton football will not play football this fall. The Indians unable to build a proper roster. Coach Donald Bruckhouse put together a 20-player team, but half that roster is made up of freshmen. Coach saying his average age of his team was 14 years old. Elton tried to play a JV roster, but ultimately unable to make that work. Well, we talked about title contenders at the top of the show in 3A. That could be a very long list in Acadiana, and it is every year, Seth.
It's the most wide open of any class or division in Louisiana, and we have a lot of really good teams in this area. That includes Church Point and CROWLEY, who faced off tonight. Jalen Reese, you're going to see first. He's going to break out of the backfield here for a decent gain, plowing through a few CROWLEY defenders before finally being taken down. In 3A, it's all about getting into the playoffs. Last year, Jennings reached the title game as a 23 seed. And this year, the Bulldogs, along with St. Martinville, Kaplan, and so many more, are looking to make a run to NOLA.
Well, you know, the thing we preach to our kids is you just have to get to the dance. Once you get to the dance, you have a chance to dance with the prettiest girl there. So you just got to get there.
You know, St. James, you know, they are, you know, head and shoulders class above the rest, but I think everybody else is going to be a fight for the second spot and who can play St. James and who can kind of take out the champion. But 3A, you don't have the traditional powers in 3A like you have in 4A with the Carrs and the Warren Eastons. But 3A football is definitely good, but it's just a lot of good people at the same level.
We'll talk about winning. These three teams, Kaplan, Iota, and Church Point, each with 25 or more wins the past 3 seasons. The only 3A schools in Acadiana really do that. And really, Seth, this is only the tip of the iceberg. St. Martinville, a 3A school now, won 13 games 2 years ago in 4A and split the district title last year with Erath, another team that is worth watching this fall. And not to be forgotten, the team we've mentioned a couple times, Jennings, went to the Dome last year, will likely compete at the top of that class again in 2020. Well, last night we got the first look at a new-look Westgate Tigers team. They played Southside, senior quarterback, that is, Brennan Landry, with a great jump pass to Amaz Eugene, who races to the end zone. Perhaps the sophomore is the guy who will step up this year for the Tigers. Westgate lost a load of talent, including district MVP Kayshawn Booty. Sidebar, he'll start at wideout tomorrow for LSU. They also lost all-district receiver McCoven's son. Of Westgate's 6 all-district players from a year ago, only 2 return.
Loreauville was possibly the most improved team in our area last season. The Tigers not only went from 1 win in 2018 to 8 wins in the second year under Terry Martin, but they also reached the quarterfinals for the first time since 2013. Loreauville will have to replace star QB Zy Alexander, but the Tigers still return 7 starters each on offense and defense and hope to be even closer to their dreams of the Dome.
Well, Seth, let's talk a little bit here as we close out our show tonight. You know, so much going on here in 2020. What do you think is going to be the one thing that affects the play the most?
I think it's going to be just so unpredictable. It's going to be very interesting to see how teams handle, obviously, positive cases of COVID-19. You know, with the Cajuns, for example, they have had people that have got sick, and then they've had contact tracing, so a group of guys have been out. So it'll just be interesting to see if it'll go something like college football or like Major League Baseball. But you can just expect the unexpected, I think, throughout this year, and I think you're going to see more upsets maybe even too than we're typically used to seeing because so many things are just going to be unpredictable.
Yeah, I think sloppy play early in the season is certainly going to be a potential issue we see. You know, we talked about 3 championship teams last year. We didn't talk about any of this before the show, but if I had to put you on a spot, who's one team, not of those 3, that you think could win a championship this season?
Karen Crow, 100%. I mean, Karen Crow just has so much talent. You know, we talked about Kendrell Williams at running back. We talked about Popcorn Prajon Tavion Falk, who is just holding down the Falk last name at Karen Crow and in this area. But I mean, such a history, and he's certainly living up to that billing. But then you talk about that defense too, that I believe returns at least eight starters, led by the Tulane commit. And so Karen Crow for me is definitely a team that I expect to be in very deep in the 4A playoffs. And if they're holding up a trophy at the end of the year in New Orleans, wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I saw Popcorn and Karen Crow in person last night. And, you know, Kendrell Williams is really the lead back in that role, but Popcorn is a great number 2 punch. He looks good and he looks big. He definitely bulked up in the offseason. He looks bigger, stronger. I don't know if he's faster. I didn't get to see any long, 80-yard touchdown runs, but he looks bigger and stronger, and I'm with you. I think the Bears is a really good team. I know it's easy to say I think a Catholic High and a Notre Dame. I think they're going to push LCA again this season. That's going to be fun to watch, right? We know how good LCA was last year. We know how good Notre Dame and Catholic always are. Those are 3 teams that are probably going to collide again, maybe 3 or 4 semifinal teams.
And I think when you talk about having someone like Drew Leger and Vermilion Catholic, you just can't count them out. They were a team that was a favorite in Division IV last year, and then coming back this year, it wouldn't surprise me as well if they are one of the contenders and also as a team that's holding the trophy. That would be another sleeper for me as far as a champion.
Before we go, a quick reminder of the 2020 layout. Here are the important dates to watch. First games start next Thursday. That's October 1st. And most teams will play their previously scheduled Week 3. Final regular season game on November 20th. State championships December 26th through the 28th, all at the Superdome. Well, that's a wrap here on Friday Night Football. Week 0 is now in the past, and we turn our attention to the season kickoff 1 week from today. A couple nice matchups, OC and Turlings, Church Point in Kaplan, Rain and Welsh, and so many more. For Seth Lewis, Brianna Aldridge, I'm Andrew Clay. We're going to see you next Friday night as Friday Night Football really kicks off.